Hey up, RockGod 2004, back with another video for you. This is the next Iron Maiden vinyl set in the collections that the collection that I've got. This is a re-release box set again, and the last one I did was the picture disc. I haven't done one for a while, and this came out after that. That was the picture disc collection, 1980 to 1988. Then they started to re-release the studio albums from scratch on black vinyl. So this box set is the complete albums collection, 1980 to 1988. This is getting like pretty rare now. But the picture disc one is like going for silly money. When this came out, I didn't know. It's a lovely box, this, man, by the way, because like on the back, because I've left the cellophane on to protect it, but it shows you all the album sleeves there, and they're all spot glossed on the box. So you got this, and I think it was like the picture disc where you get the first two albums in it. You didn't have to get the box set, but obviously I wanted to collect them, so they all fit in there. Now I noticed when I got it, I started to get to the end too, and I was thinking, these ain't gonna fit. So I bided my time, and eventually, my God, yeah, they go in, but it is such a tight squeeze. But people were saying that they didn't go in. I didn't know this, but they complained to Warner Brothers, Parlophone, and they'd made bigger boxes and sent them out. I didn't know about this. So about a year or two later, when I found out about it, I contacted them. They said, which box set you're on about? So I told them, and I just never had no more. They just totally ignored me. So I'm stuck with this one. But I suppose I could say this is the original box, and it is complete. So the band name as well, if you look, is spot gloss. It's a nice box. It's just a shame it was a bit too small. I mean, you can go like that, look, and they don't come out. Oh, they do, but slowly. There you go. Oh, that saves me. Right, so front, back, and then on the shelf you see that. And there's nothing on the top, and there's nothing on the bottom. So let's take these out. I'll show you what they all look like. So obviously the first one is the debut album. Colours on that are so much nicer, aren't they? Just a slightly darker red to the original, because on the original it looks orange. Looks the same except for a barcode. And instead of being on EMI now, it's on Parlophone. Now, years ago, Parlophone belonged to EMI, and it had people like the Beatles on. Who else was on Parlophone? I don't mean people like the Smiths and stuff like that. That was years later. There was a couple of labels looked like it. There was that, and there was Columbia, which I think were both part of EMI. They had the circle at the top with the name. Who else was on Parlophone apart from the Beatles? There was loads on it. I just can't think what the hell they were. Now, this was originally, when it first came out, released with an inner black sleeve, which they've reproduced, but it's got a hole cut. However, it is polylined. These re-releases have all only ever been played once. I tend to play the original. Now, even though that's quite a tight fit in the box, they're not warped. They're absolutely flat as. And these are in mint, just about mint condition, because they've been played once. Same labels. It still does say EMC 3330. Well, it's not EMI. I can't remember whether the end of the Phantom of the Opera has that little vocal bit by Diana or not. Can't remember. And there's side two. So, that was one of the albums that came actually in the box if you bought the box. You didn't have to get the box, but I knew I was going to get them all anyway. So that's the first album in the box set from 1980, Iron Maiden. Second album, this is the other one that came in the box with the first album. And this is from 1981, a second album. This is the first Iron Maiden album I ever owned. And one of my favourite, if not my favourite, Eddie's. Killers from 1981. I used to giggle at this when I was 13-year-old. Because I spotted the couple having it away there, stood up in the window. You see all sorts of stuff in these illustrations. I was always in awe of that shot. I just wanted to see them so bad. But I didn't I think they were going to be far too loud for my delicate little ears. Gutted. I had the chance to go on the Killers tour. I could have gone and seen them on the Number of the Beast tour. I could have gone and seen them on the Peace of Mind tour. And I could have gone and seen them on the World Slavery Power Slave tour. But I chickened out of it, and I only got the balls to go and see them in '86. Somewhere in time tour. So yeah, I missed out on Di'Anno. Gutted. I didn't get to go. I couldn't have gone and seen them on the first tour because I hated them when the first album came out. So, but yeah, that I still sometimes look at that, you know, and I think I wish I'd have got that on my arm instead of the Trooper. But he's done such a fantastic.
Hi guys.
Fantastic job of that. I look at it and I think, oh, it's meant that. I just wish I had the room and the money to get more. I'd love this. And I'd love that future past artwork. Beautiful. Again, they've done this one with an inner black sleeve. The UK one didn't come with an inner black sleeve, which you might remember in my previous vids. However, I think it was the German or the Dutch did. You know, the one where I showed it before and it's got that gorgeous red Killers across the top. That came with just a black plain and a sleeve. But again, this is a polylined one. I'm pretty sure not all of these are polylined, but some of them have the inner picture sleeves duplicated anyway, so not duplicated, replicated. Idiot. You're not going to get another bell end out of that because it's going to be full of them if I do. Yeah, what I find weird about this one, the first one is a bit, but this one even more so. Do you see the dead wax at the end? Like the runoff groove. If you look at an original pressing, it's just about right close to the labels, so they've like used as much of the surface as possible. Now these did sound great, I must admit. However, I can't compare them. I've never compared them to think, oh, that one's better than the other. But I personally am still assuming that the original pressing will sound better. But I did hear a lot of praise for these when they came out. That's side 2, and that's even got a bigger gap at the end there. It's weird. Because normally that would mean that the groove is closer together, which would also then mean that it's a quieter press. But there you go, but they were remastered. I love those labels. Takes me right back to my early teens when I was 13 when I first got into them. Times are so much simpler, no internet and all this crap. No woke, nothing like that. But when I look at these records and the earlier ones and the labels like that, it reminds me of getting dark in like winter time and autumn time, and I'm 13-year-old again. Yeah, there we go. Second album in the box set from 1981, originally Killers. The third album in the box set is, for me, the greatest album of all time by anybody. This was when Paul Di'Anno was out, and I was devastated because I loved Paul Di'Anno, and I thought, yeah, when he's gone, it's not going to be the same, going to be crap. Wow, was I wrong. First album with old Bruce Dickinson. Unfortunately, the last one with Clive Bear, such a brilliant drummer, who's now sadly not with us. He dies in 2013. Brilliant drummer. For me, so much better than Nico. Love Nico, don't get me wrong. I don't love Nico drumming Clive's stuff, though. He kills the Number of the Beast, which is what this is, from 1982. The Number of the Beast. I forgot to mention that these were all re-released in 2014. This feels like a couple of years ago since I was going to see Tom in Sounded Out, bless him, to get these, because he was getting these in for me. It's 10 years ago. These are 10-year-old now. Yet they still feel brand new. 10 years. Wow. Again, absolutely unbelievable artwork. Love it. There's the back sleeve again, which they've used a different band shot. If you look at the original and then look at this one, you'll see the different. And then with this one, they did redo the inner sleeve. Lyrics on that side. Now this one goes right to the centre, like the groove. So this one, I can't understand why it doesn't with Killers. I love that label there. So that's side one. Side two doesn't go to the Emperor. I can't remember whether it does on the original. And that's the original track listing as well, with Gangland on. Unlike the one that they released for the 40th anniversary, where they took Gangland off and put the B-side of Run to the Hills on. Total Eclipse. Because apparently that was meant to be the one on. I love Gangland, but they always... The band always like, what about what Steve Harris does? Silly little far. Yes, I've gone down there and I have actually kept the cellophane on these because I'm sad. Just a brilliant album. Love every song. Not a bad song on it at all. People say Gangland's crap. They're wrong. It's not. If you think Gangland's crap, just listen to the first few seconds. The drum intro by Clive Bear. And then tell me Nickel McBrain's better. Wow. Originally from 1982, that's, for me, the greatest album of all time, The Number of the Beast. The fourth album in the box set, and Iron Maiden's fourth album, is from 1983, and it is Peace of Mind. First Baldy Eddie. The first single of this was Flight of Icarus, and if you look at the artwork, it more matches the Number of the Beast artwork than this, because Eddie's still got long hair, he's still got his yellow yellow t-shirt and blue jeans on, and that vortex is still there in the sky and stuff, the round whole thing, and it looks like Number of the Beast artwork. It's weird. And then all of a sudden this comes out and there he is. They've lobotomized him and shaved his head. I was so annoyed when this come out. Baldy Eddie, hated it. Hated it. I love it now. I think it looks mint. It does have a good gatefold sleeve. It may be different. I don't know, and I've never seen it because it's still in the cellophane. The blue on this is so vibrant, so much clearer than on the original pressing. And it is To Tame a Land there, not Dune. Yeah, Derek Riggs, what a master at what he did. I'm trying to see in there. It does look the same. It does look the same artwork. The sat at the table and the lyrics. This one came with, originally, the original pressing did have a black sleeve like this, and it was die cut, but it was just hard card. They've been smart enough to give you a polylined one in this kitting. The Number of the Beast one didn't have a polylined one because that was a picture in a sleeve. But I've noticed that the ones that have the polyline ones are so less dusty. Original labels again, duplicated there. And yeah, again, don't know what the hell it is, but the run off at the end, it's just bigger. And the same with that, because I think To Tame a Land at the end's a long song. It doesn't look it on there, but it is. The last song, it goes on for over 7 minutes. Looking at that, you'd think it was like a 4 or 5 minute song. It's weird. I tell you what though, they are half really heavyweight, 180 gram vinyl. These are way something. You can't do an old didgeridoo with that. Wobble board, sorry, didgeridoo. This was the first time you heard Nickel McBrain as well on this album, and the opening. I mean, had it not been for singles coming out before the release Flight of Icarus, the first thing you would have heard would have been that absolutely amazing Where Eagles Dare intro. So originally from 1983, Peace of Mind. Record 5, fifth studio album from 1984. This is regarded by many as their greatest album, but obviously not for me. But my God, it's up there. 1984's Power Slave. And the artwork on this is, it's absolutely insane. I've never had the patience to sit and look at it all, but if you look at all these here, there's loads of little hidden messages. You've ever got the time to sit and look and read or get a magnifying glass and zoom in, it must have took him ages. And that's the back sleeve. Look at that. So the steps up there to the Eddie Pharaoh thing there. The steps are up there inside the tomb there. And then on the back, it's looking out from inside that. So that's the little square going into like below where Eddie is. Looking out to where the shot is from where the camera would be there. How clever is that? I used to have a t-shirt with that on. Look at that. The original one I've got now, the original 1984 pressing, is fully autographed. Bought it off a friend of mine, and he actually took it to the gig in '84, I think, and met them, and he got all 5 of them to sign it. So it's got Adrian Smith, Bruce Dickinson, all of them, Nico, Dave Murray, and Steve Harris. I think at the time, like, Steve Harris was one of the hardest ones to get, but since he's been touring with British Lion, it's like he seems to be one of the kind of more accessible. It's Bruce and Adrian that takes some tracking down. Well, Dave Murray as well now, to be honest. Well, all of them, because they've all buggered off to America except Bruce. Well, Bruce isn't the most approachable chap, is he? If I remember rightly, that might be different to the original as well, very slightly, a different shot. Never cared for that image for some reason. I think it just looks cack. And then colours don't go. You get all the lyrics. This has got an amazing instrumental on called Lost for Words, Big Horror. Wow. I'd love to do a bass cover of that. So, yeah, again, straight as a die. So it's done no damage to them. And that's the side one label. Opening up with the mighty Aces High. And then straight into 2 Minutes to Midnight. Then into that amazing instrumental Lost for Words, Big Horror. And then there's another 2 songs after that. You get Flash of the Blade, which is the one that features in Dario Argento's Phenomenon. Or Phenomena. Phenomenon's the UFO album. I think Phenomena's the film. Flash of the Blade plays in that a few times. And then it ends with the duelists. And then you flip it over to side 2. It starts with Back in the Village, which is basically a sequel to The Prisoner. And for me, as good as it is, it's probably the worst one on the album, but I do really like the song. There's not a bad one on it. Straight into the title track, Power Slave, which is beautiful when it gets into the middle quiet bit. And then ending on that amazing 11, 12, 13 minute Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner on side 2. When that came out, everybody went mental for it. They did actually do that song as well on the Somewhere in Time tour when I first saw them, because I was surprised. Again, because they've replicated the inner sleeve, no polylining, so always be very careful when you put them in these sleeves. Like, always try and form that shape so your record doesn't scratch on the paper inside. Or you can quite easily get some polylinings to go in them. 1984's Power Slave. Record 6. This always bothered me that this is included in this set. Because, I'll tell you why. Right. This is 1985's first live album, full live album that they released on the World Peace Tour. Live After Death. Now, this bothered me that they put this in, but any other album that they've recorded live has never been re-released. So they've re-released this, remastered it, re-released this, but there's no real live one, no real dead one, no Live at Donington, no Rockin' Rio, which I think is probably my favourite live album of theirs, no Death on the Road, which is also a very close contender because I love that one as well, no En Vivo. Not bothered about that because it's got too much Final Frontier on, which I just don't really particularly care for. Yeah, and the rest of them are pretty much after the remasters anyway. It's like, you know, the Book of Souls Alive chapter and that triple Live in Mexico one, which I think was done on the Legacy of the Beast tour, so they're pretty much up to date with them. But I just don't understand, like, why include this one? People going, it's the greatest, one of the greatest live albums. It isn't. I'm sorry. You know how mad I am on this band. But I've always found this overrated. I think that being said, it's took me all this time, almost 40 years, to start to appreciate it more now. Because this was like when they were touring hefty and like, oh my God, Bruce's voice was rough. This is why I don't understand when people say his voice is terrible now. It's far better than what it is in here. It's rough. So anyway, yeah, Live After Death, double LP. Did they put the booklet in? Yes, they did. So you've got to give them fair play for doing this. They've really, really tried to duplicate it as best they can. So the first inner sleeve with lyrics. I tell you what, I felt sorry you made these things. I must have got sick to death of typing the lyrics out over and over for different albums. Like, because like stuff like I'll Be Thy Name, Iron Maiden, Number of the Beast, they're all like on different live albums. Yeah, the lyrics are always on there. These weigh a ton, these. That's just one record. And obviously this was the most expensive record out of this little collection because it's a double. If I drop this now, I will cry. Look at that. Not a mark. I take care of my shit. And side 2 there. Which does have the Rime of the Ancient Mariner. Look at that first track there. The size of that bad boy.
You filthy beast! Disgusting!
Love the grave labels there. Weird ton. Again, no polylining, so if you just do that, just touch at the edge, like on the edge there. Don't ever touch the plane surfaces. And there you are, it's in there. If you just like and in, the paper scratches them. Depends how much you want to look after them. I mean, yeah, records are meant to be played. I am totally against people buying them and keeping them sealed. However, I've done it myself twice. And it was with the 40th anniversary picture disc of the first album and the 12-inch picture disc of the one they did for Record Store Day, that big long song of the Book of Souls, Empire of the Clouds. But I did buy 2 copies of each, one so I could open it and play, one that I could keep sealed in case I ever decided to sell it, so it's as new, or just for posterity's sake, really. I've got one sealed. But I don't do it all. That's only 2 times I've ever done it. Record 2. I wouldn't tell you what I would do. I would like to swap the sealed Empire of the Clouds for the same one, but the American one, just because it's on a different label. Same picture and everything, but I would like the American Record Store Day one. It's got a sticker on it. Ours didn't get one. Well, it's got a silver record sticker, but this one had an orange one with the logo and everything. So I wouldn't mind swapping it for that, but I don't know anybody who's got the bugger who would want to swap it, to be honest. There you go. Same labels. This, however, does have the greatest live version of Running Free on it. And I absolutely love, even though it's Clive Bear's song and Nico's drumming it, but he actually does this one really good. I love the version of Phantom of the Opera on this. When I learnt that song, that's the one that I learnt it to. Because for some bizarre reason, the original one on the debut album, I think it's a slightly different tuning. It's if you've got all your guitars and your bass tuned into E, you play their album and try and play along with it, it's out. It's weird. Probably that bloody stupid smoking producer they had, Will Malone. So yeah, it's in the box, but for me it shouldn't be, because they didn't bother releasing the other live albums again. Not the greatest live album ever for me, but however, it's a cracker, and it's grown on me more and more lately. But I'm more for Kiss Alive, UFO Stranger Than the Night, Judas Priest Unleashed in the East, that type of stuff, and Motorhead. No Sleep Till Hammersmith. I just like them. I like the better records. That's all I can say about it, really. Even though this is most people's favourite Maiden live album, it's not mine, baby. Live After Death from 1985. Record 7. Or, if you include the 2 Live After Deaths, that would be record 8. But I've just classed them as one. This blew me away when I first heard it. The artwork is amazing. However, it's too science fiction for my liking. And that's the only reason that I kind of like wasn't as keen on this as the rest of the world is. And this was the first tour I saw them on. And this is, what an album, 1986's Somewhere in Time. Again, there's a hell of a lot of people, Maiden fans, this is their all-time favourite. I do understand why. Same with Powerslave, I do get it. Because they are both absolutely outstanding. I think when you pick your favourite album as well, especially if you're sort of like from my generation, it's not, although yeah, it is the album you enjoy the most, but it's not all about every little song. It's like, it's the memories that come with it. It's like it makes you think of where you are and when you first heard it and stuff like that. And that's why The Number of the Beast means so much to me. It takes me right back to when I first heard it, when I was 14-year-old, and when I first heard Run to the Hills, thinking that it was going to be crap. But this one, I think, will always hold a special place in my heart as well, with it being the first tour that I went on. And I've listened to this since I went to the gig last year. And I swear to God, it still sounds fresh now. This could have been recorded last week. It does not sound out of date. Right? I don't think any Maiden album does, but this just sounds so pristine. And what a track listing it's got. For me, Wasted Years was always one of the worst on the album. But again, as I'm getting older, I'm loving that song more and more. Alexander the Great, I really didn't care for that. I didn't. And then when I seen it live, I nearly cried. And then I've played it a few times since. I'm like, do you know what? Jesus Christ, for 30 or nearly 40 years, I've like kind of disliked this song, and it's phenomenal. When I listen to it now, I love it. Never thought I'd hear myself say that. I've only really liked Alexander the Great in the last year. Weird, isn't it? There you go. That was supposed to look very Space Age, which I suppose it did at the time. And not supposedly the rock in the background, but that car was supposed to be pretty futuristic. Derek Riggs' sign there, lyrics. And again, now I do love these labels. I know the science fiction-y, but I do love these labels. And I love the way they've wrote Somewhere in Time. I like the digital, and it's green. I don't know, that green title just goes with the yellow and the blues of the label. Eddie is phenomenal on there. Side 1 and side 2. Now, even though I've only played these once, you can see dust on them, and that's because of because it's a picture sleeve again. You don't get the anti-static in there. Bit weird as well when I saw these on this tour when I first went to see them. The support band was Samson, which was oddly enough the band that Bruce Dickinson left to join these. So that's 1986's Somewhere in Time. And finally, record 8, which is the 8th album or the 7th studio album. So if they hadn't done a live one, this would have been record 7. And I'm pretty sure that's why it's called Seventh Son of a Seventh Son. I absolutely love this album to bits. And this artwork, it is gorgeous. I love it. I remember not long after this had come out, I think went to see them at Donington in '88. And I can't remember if it was before that or just afterwards. Saw them again as well at Whitley Ice Rink the same year. They played Donington in the August. They did Whitley Ice Rink in the December. They did a little mini Christmas tour of this. And went to see Poltergeist 3 at the cinema. And I swear to God, when you see all the ice and the snow in that film, it reminds you of this. Especially like when you're seeing the live set and when you're seeing the video footage at the beginning of the icebergs and stuff. The Poltergeist 3, I tell thee. All the Eddies there in snow. God, I wish they'd get Derek Riggs back. Go and kiss and make up and get him back. Look at that. Amazing. Oh, I didn't get the booklet out, but Live After Death did have the original booklet in. I've showed it before. I think it's in the picture disc and it's in the original. I'm not showing it again. And the Japanese release. That is one of the greatest Eddies of all time as well. That is absolute genius. I love it. That's the prophecy. And I think he's the clairvoyant in it. Lyrics, photograph, and Steve's and Nico's lovely 80s jeans there. First single that came off this before the album came out was Can I Play With Madness, and it was so different to anything they'd done before. The run-off groove on this is huge. It's ridiculous. I don't know why there's that much like playing service left, because there's none on the original. God almighty, Can I Play With Madness and The Evil That Men Do? They just look like 3-minute songs. Now, when I stuck this on, and I heard them first acoustic notes of Moonchild, I was like, oh, weird for these. Then it kicked in, and the hairs on the back of my neck and all of my arms just stuck up. And to this day, they still do every single time I play that song. And then straight after that, you get Infinite Dreams kicking in. Two absolute crackers. Another great label there, B-side, with both sides of the track listing on. This is the other album that battles in my head sometimes with The Number of the Beast to try and get top slot. It's very, very, very close. It's The Number of the Beast or this, but this is how I know it's The Number of the Beast, because like I said, I think about like the memories and stuff with it and what it meant to me the first time I heard it. And if I look at it that way, it definitely is The Number of the Beast. But this, again, this has got a song called The Prophecy, which gets quite a lot of hate. I love that song. I think it's amazing. They didn't do it live. It's got a beautiful, beautiful acoustic guitar ending. And it is goosebump inducing. It is gorgeous. And as that fades out, then the clairvoyant kicks in. The two weak points on this for me, one of them isn't a weak point anymore. I used to always think Only the Good Die Young was one of the worst, but I really like it now. For me, the weakest one on this, and I don't know why they made it the second single, is The Evil That Men Do. It's just, compared to the rest of the album, I find it quite lame. It's very basic. I don't know what it is. It's never totally gelled with me, that song. I'm not fussed even to this day. For me, the worst song on it. But it's not a crap song, but it's just not particularly one of the best for me. 1988. And that was the second time I seen them at Donington. Wow. August 1988. Seventh son of a seventh son. So there you go. That's that box set. And there they all are back. Nicely in there. Went straight back in. I think it's just, once you've put them in the box, took them out a few times, it's still quite I mean, they still come out, but it's still quite a tight fit. But they do come out. When I first got them, oh my God, I was like, I'm never going to get them back out. Once they were in, I was like, I panicked. I couldn't get them, but they're all right now. And they're all still in tip-top condition, as you saw. So that's the first box set with the complete albums collection, 1980 to 1988. And I think that's the same album listings as the complete picture disc album. It is 1980 to 1988. I have done that video before, but I'll put this video in the Iron Maiden playlist. I put all the Iron Maiden videos together for ease if anybody wants to see them. So yeah, nice little box set that. Increasing in value all the time. Beautiful spot glossing, and the artwork is amazing. Yeah, great stuff. Thank you very much indeed for watching. All two of you, I really do appreciate it. Hope you enjoyed this. Been a while since I've done a Maiden one. And to the best of my knowledge, there is only that second box set to do of the reissues, and that's it. I've done everything. Until I win the lottery or somebody wins the lottery and buys me the Soundhouse tapes. Or obviously if they release something new. Or if I get any more bootlegs. I might redo a bootleg one actually. Because I have got another 3 or 4, possibly. And I can't remember what I've done and what I haven't, so I'll probably do a recap of that when I get everything else sorted. Because I've got some cracking bootlegs. And some beautiful picture discs as well in bootleg form. They're amazing. So I might do eventually. Won't be for a while. Not yet. So I hope you enjoyed that one. And I will be doing part 2 probably in the sort of quite near future. Hope you enjoyed that. Take care of yourselves until I see you on the next video.